All right, let's get started. Thank you very much for coming to this session. There's a lot of interesting sessions happening at the same hour, so really appreciate the fact that you're here to listen about this topic, why we cannot do business without Tableau. Now, I noticed today that there's a minor problem with this topic that I put up there. The problem is that it's not true. It is not true. And I'll tell you why. This is based on the wrong assumption that Tableau is an indispensable tool in the business. We wanted to get there. We're not there yet. I will tell you the journey of how we are going to do that. But what we really cannot do without are Excel spreadsheets, right? It's everywhere. People use it day in, day out. So maybe I should talk about how we can build better spreadsheets. No. We wanted to use Tableau. There's really good values that I'm sure many of us here know about using Tableau. But in particular, in the Asian context, I spent most of my career in Asia, over 10 years, implementing BI solutions, strategic planning. And in Asia, there's a very particular challenge into using a self-service tool like Tableau. So I will talk about my journey of how we tackle that challenge in my company. So a little bit about myself. I started out as an electrical engineer. I did some research projects at the college, both in Wi-Fi research and as well as genetic sequencing. And then I moved to Chicago and did a healthcare finance consultant. And then I relocated back to Hong Kong, work at the headquarters of HSBC for Asia. And the last 3 years, I've been working for a company called UBM in its Asia operations. UBM is a commercial organizer of events, exhibitions, and conferences like this one. In America, most of the operations are in conferences. In Asia, it's mega exhibitions that we run. So essentially, we're connecting visitors and exhibitors, allowing them to do business. So to give you a sense of how passionate I am about Tableau, I will show you just a screenshot of this, maybe show a few interactions on this dashboard I built. This is a personal dashboard that I built last year when my son was still 1 year old. And we'll put him to sleep as soon as possible, so about 9 o'clock, and then my wife and I will start working on this web app. And it's all about having more visibility to charity fundraisers on the street. Because you see a lot of them, maybe not so much in the States, but in Asia, in Hong Kong, Thailand, you see so many of them asking for donations. Sometimes it was a one-time cash donation, sometimes it could be a monthly commitment. So I want to know who they really are. What do they do? What do people say about them? And there are bits and pieces of that information all over the web for the local community. And with this, we pull all of that information into Tableau Public and put it out there so people in the community can look it up. So I will show you very quickly what it looks like. So again, this is nothing business-like. It's really just a personal thing. But I figure it will give you a sense of what it really means to us as a user of Tableau and passionate about it. So very quickly, let me switch over. Not this one. This is a work version of it. Okay, it's loading. So we built this pulling information databases from some of the official sources, as well as news and some of the critiques that are coming from research firms. So here we built this map showing where the fundraisers are at any given day across Hong Kong. You can do a search here. So we actually built some sort of search engine here. With the search, you immediately see how much information there is with any particular charity. And then clicking on that will take you to more details about that charity. So as I said, there's info, review, there's news, there's contact information, how many activities I had in the last year, there's some financial report, there's some benchmarking. So basically, what I'm telling you is I'm passionate about Tableau. And so that passion carried into what I do at UBM. And so I will then talk about my journey at UBM. So how many of you have businesses that operate in Asia? One, maybe two or three? Yeah, customers of Tableau. Yeah, yeah. How many of you or company are planning to operate in Asia? Maybe one. Tableau, from Tableau, yeah, you sure? So let me ask you, Steve, what do you think of the business culture in Asia? Any idea? Anthony? You don't know much? Yeah? Yeah? No? Indirect, yes, yes. Modest, yeah, that's definitely part of that. And that plays, yes, you have the mic. A lot of hours, long hours, burnout, yes, definitely. And not to generalize too much about this, but there's some distinct features about Asian culture that I figured I will point out so that you have a more better appreciation of the challenge that we face putting a tool such as Tableau out in Asia. So first of all, opinion, right? East versus West, on the right was Asia. It's very indirect. The lady who mentioned, very indirect. So forget about focus group. Forget about brainstorming session. It's not going to work, right? It is not going to work. So you need to have a better way to understand what it really is that people want. And same goes for anger. You put out a tool, you're replacing some of the tools that they use or spreadsheets. When we go to business and say, you've got to use this dashboard because it's so much easier, so much faster, so much more insight. And then they will look at you and say, but I built this spreadsheet, it's my thing, and it's been working fine. You are actually making things less feasible to me. We heard that a lot. And in particular, to the analysts in Asia whose full-time job was to extract information from a legacy system, and you tell them you need to learn a new tool, you may be putting him out of his job. So we got a lot of, we know people are angry, but they don't show you. They are angry but show you a happy face. So you don't really know. And then there is the boss and leader culture in Asia. Many parts of the Asian countries, the leader is huge, right? The leader say one thing, everyone follow. And that translates into a conversation I have with a Shanghai colleague many times, whereas it's like this. I would tell him, okay, we really need to do this in Shanghai because it's one of the biggest operations. We need to put this dashboard out. We need to build governance to allow people to take advantage of it. And he would say to me, no problem. What I'm going to do, I manage the team who operate database. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make this dashboard as the only viable option for them. So there's no other option that's available for them. So they have got to use it. Does that work or not? Sort of. But that kind of gives you an idea of the mindset there. It's totally not like in here in the States. Where I work in the States, there's a lot of things that happen and bottom up, but not so much in Asia. The final observation is that when they are dealing with a problem, instead of go straight to it or try to resolve it, a lot of time we resort to workarounds. And those workarounds could be very helpful, in the medium term. But the problem is once they start building a workaround solution, it becomes the official solution, and it becomes very difficult then to reverse it. So those three aspects of what play into the culture, so it becomes the backdrop of my task and my journey. And 3 years ago, I joined the company. My first day on my job, I met my CEO, and my CEO gave me two missions. First mission is to bring data closer to our marketing teams. Second is to make a sales team use CRM. On the first mission, I thought, okay, find I've deal with more difficult projects back in HSBC, much larger operation. I thought, it's okay, we had the people, we have to set up the process, it should be all right. But then the second day, I go there, I report, and then I met with my team, and then I realized that it's not that easy. Why? Because I was inherited a team of 5, and this team in the past 2 years had 200% turnover. So many of them are quite new to the job, and their full-time capacity was spent on extracting data from something, I'll show you a picture of that, a database extraction tool that doesn't even look like a SQL. It's very bad, and so the team has very little analytical tools and capability to allow them to make good use of data. And so I then go back and think, okay, what it is that I need to really get it up and running, having a self-service tool. So solving the first mission, what is that I really need? So then I spend the next few months thinking about it and looking out for a solution, and Tableau just come as a very attractive option because you only need to spend maybe a month or so to be able to be productive with the tool, be able to train the tool, and was really happy to say that at this stage, a team of 10 that's in my team, we all know how to operate Tableau. We are respected as the database analysts, and we're able to produce something that are very helpful to them. Of course, that until everyone knows how to use the tool. And then I developed a program called Data Source, which is a program to get us there. And it's internal communication. But also, we make a video that explains to our internal staff what it really is. So I'll show you very quickly a video, which is only 1.5 minutes, to explain what we did and how we communicated it.
Our most important tech project is Data Source.
So what exactly is Data Source? Data Source makes it easy to work with your data and build trust with visitors online. At its heart, Data Source is a visitor database, but packed with awesome features. Powerful dashboards, fast search, complete visitor profiles, and best-in-class quality control. So both you and your data are in good hands. Data Source is eye candy. It gives you beautiful charts to see and select data, so you can find your stories and insights at every step of the way. Data Source builds trust and transparency. Wonder if your visitor also attends another event of the company? You now have a full view of the data. Not sure if it's the right time to send a campaign? You now control how often they receive any of your promotions. Worried about duplications? Relax, it's under control. Data Source puts the customer at the center. Personal and efficient, our visitors can now register and manage their data using social media accounts and on mobile devices. Returning visitors will make the experience even better. Happier staff, happier visitors. To learn more, follow Data Source Group on the Hub. Now log on and see the difference.
So this is very simple of how we portray the program. And it's essential because a lot of people who have seen some of the dashboard come to us and ask, what it really is. Data Source and Tableau, what does it really do? So we put in the perspective of delivering values to the customer and to also deliver values to us as staff to be able to work with our database closer. So it sounds easy. Of course, it's not without challenge. So we'll forget about the outline. I will then talk about what it is before we had Tableau, what marketing looks like in the company. So there are 3 kinds of interfaces, and the use case that's always been that we need to spend a lot of time in the past to extract data to execute campaigns, so targeting exercises. It took up to 2 weeks. So imagine you are marketeers, and you need to target a list, maybe 2 weeks before the event, and you gave a list of criteria to a database or IT team that's dedicated for this job, which is my team previous job. And you have to wait 2 weeks, and by the time you have it, data is outdated, and that your campaigns, when it went out, some customer might already opt out. So there's a lot of data discrepancy that's happening there. So your campaigns didn't deliver in time, your customer get upset. So this is a critical use case. How can we make use of Tableau to replace that 2 weeks time windows that happens all the time when our marketeers need to select data? So I'll show you some interfaces, right? 1/3 of our people use something like this. You will need to select, drag and drop, and you can even write a SQL query, I think, in this case. But it's very cryptic. It's very difficult for a business user to use this. And second, it's even worse. You have to write, again, very cryptic codes. You know, how many of you have actually worked with codes in the past, like rather than SQL queries? No? Never? Yeah, that's how it is in Asia. This is, what, three years ago. So you have to write codes, and you have to remember what that code means exactly. 2012 FGP9JWPC. What it really is, that you have to look up a long sheet, and every single record have this huge code that's associated with it. Each of these can be a dimension. And then, of course, the other third is Excel spreadsheets. And so looking at those, we see the pain, right? That is a very clear pain point of how people were using databases. And that is a reason why, as business, they don't want to even touch it, okay? There should be someone else's job. Or that, I need a lot more training, but I'm not ready for it now. I've got better things to do. I need to think of a marketing plan. I need to do copywriting. A thing about Asia is that one person in some countries, you carry so many jobs. Like you're a database marketeers, you are a copywriter, you are a marketing strategist, you are a social media strategist, you are everything. So databases, definitely end of the deck of stuff that they wanted to do. So without further ado, I will show you some real production level demo of dashboards. So the first one is for the marketing data and an overview of our databases. So anytime you need to, like I mentioned before, right, leader and boss, they are the ones who really drive change. So in order to deliver values to the business, first of all, you need to get their buy-in. And this is a dashboard that was able to achieve that. So in the past, there is no visibility anywhere of exactly how many data, exactly where, and exactly what data is available in the business. And with Tableau, we're able to pull all of that information and make it interactive for the managers. So for example, we're looking at 3 million records right now in the last 5 years in some of the events. So I can here select a particular industry that I look after and a particular project. So each of these projects produce a number of events. So for example, this project produced fashion and leather event for the industry. So by the way, I have some very key quality metrics. Right? First, on the top, you see, of course, total data. On the right, you see how many are actually your customer. The rest of them are leads. So here, for this industry, we have close to 500,000, and only 200,000 are actually our customer who actually attended our event. 38% of them. The rest of them are leads. So this is a key. This is a key indicator that we need to improve. And then in this chart here, it's showing how updated are the data. So darker blue means that it's been updated more recently. So at a glance, you can already tell that for this particular project, most of the data are quite old. Maybe 70% of them were older than a year. And then it allows you to drill in further, right? Then to answer your next questions. So a very typical questions that a manager of the event will ask is, what countries in a particular regions are trending for a particular event. So of course, our events are mostly in Asia, so you see, close to 90% of our attendees are coming from Asia, so it's not particularly interesting. So I could exclude that, and I look at the distribution. Say I was looking at Europe, I want to see the distribution. So again, with Tableau, it's very interactive. You already see the distribution, and so Italy stand out because what? Because they produce a lot of leather, produce a lot of fashion, and then I can look further. So is it the same case for material? So is Italy also a major participation in material show? Well, of course it is Italy, but you see Germany is also closer here, half of the numbers of Italians going to the show. So this exercise and these charts allow allow the senior managers to get very quick understanding of the data and understanding of their business. So we are able to get some buy-in from them. And then the next one is really the cornerstone of our initiative here, replacing the marketing data selection process. So let me switch over and show you this dashboard. This is embedded in our application. I will show you very quickly that the application also has search and other data quality models and many other features. But the key feature is the dashboard, which is the main reporting engine that we use for this application, which we call data source. Now imagine you are marketeers and you need to target for particular segments. So I refresh, because I left it idle for some time. Okay, so let's say I select a particular project. So I work for that project, I want to promote to a particular segment in that project. So this is live environment. This is directly running out of our Tableau server from Hong Kong. Okay, in a few seconds, then you are presented with a matrix that shows on the left the products that are that the customer are coming to source, and as well as on the top here are the nature of business. The nature of business, for example, are they retail, are they manufacturers, are they boutique owners? And this allows you to select. So I could select, for example, these 4 cross sections, and then I can select some further ones. Okay, and let's say I pick this 5 segment, and this just done a filter. So it narrowed down the data already. So this is the first level of targeting that you do based on people's demographics and their profile. Then you will notice that the map refresh, because on this page, everything are filter each other. And then I'm just going to do one thing. There's many other filters, but just do one thing. Let's say I only want to target the European buyers. And with this, of course, then I get to even more focused and even more specific target. So I go next. So I'm done with it. I'm happy with it. Then next is I then look at the behavior, right? You cannot always rely on demographics. So in this case, I be looking at their actual participation in the past for all of these events. How many years have they attended, through what channel they come to participate, engage with us. So here, this show you that for each event, how many people from this selection have visited and not visited, and the green are those who have pre-registered to the event. So they have the plan to come to the event, so they don't just show up there. And on the bottom here is the channel. So how many of them are coming through online, increasingly more, and how many of them are VIP or as a groups. So all of these information can be used as filter. So we group all the filter on the right that they know where to select and get it to even more targeted group. So not too many here based on my selection, only 200 users So this would run really fast. So then I will select what action it is that I want to do. I want to send an email, fax, mail, or I want to call them up. So I say I wanted to send an email campaign, which is the most popular, a common communication channel you had. Okay. So you then presented with every single customer that you have in your segment, as well as their email responses. So including when you send a piece of email to that particular customer, what kind of response are you getting? So the first thing is that people complain about, okay, you have the same list as I do, and you have been sending a lot of emails to my customer so that they are opting out of everything. How do we control it? Right here, right there, we put in an option that they can control now how many emails are being sent across all of our business to this particular group of customer. So let's see this work. Okay, too much. Okay, so okay, 4. So I set it at 4. So you see the list has been shorter already. So in the last 7 days, these are the folks that had only received less than 4 emails from us, any of our business line. And then I can look further. Okay, this is a very high-value campaign. I only want to target people who will be likely to respond, so I don't waste money on the others. So I can filter to say, I only want them, only want to target folks who had clicked or read my emails. So I apply my filters, and I get to the further, a smaller, even smaller list. I can, of course, select a particular campaign as a filter. And here, basically, the gray are the time where we send a campaign, so there are more detail here. What exactly is the campaign? What time it's been sent on? The response, as well, when they respond, what they click on. And here is what integration we've done to this is you can straight away get to the full details of this particular customer. So what you can do with it is you can verify your assumption that this is the type of person that I wanted to target. So here, it's loading the entire profile of the customer. I hope it runs. Okay. Let me just do a quick refresh. Okay, it's coming. Okay, so that now it shows you the full details. Is this person, so Mr. Chin, is he preferring a particular channel? No. Is he subscribed to all of our mailing list? Yes. Did he register? Yes, this particular event. History of participation, even the form of all the details that he filled out. Nature and the products are all here. So all the information are here. So you can use that to verify your assumption. Then I'll show you the next dashboard, which is quite different because this is a dashboard that I'll call a dashboard of things, right? Similar to Internet of Things because it comes hands in hand. In events, like here in the conference, when you come in, the staff will scan your badge, right? In exhibition, that's what's very key. That's the key data that we collect because we want to target better. In the next event, maybe we can invite you to some halls or even particular exhibitor if there's a lead gen device. So when you're visiting the expo hall, you have the sales team of each vendor come at you and they scan your badge. And the reason they do this, of course, to capture lead, and they will follow up. So all of that information, all of that interaction, as an organizer, it's very valuable. Even in our US business, this information is actually used to sell back to the vendor. Because, for example, with IBM and Microsoft and Apple, and they were, for example, they're looking at the latest chipset, and they're looking at a number of manufacturing vendors, and we have all the information of their interaction. So which exhibitor are they interested in? Who did they meet? What articles, what white paper they read online? So all of that information is very valuable because we can then predict if for the next iPhone, which manufacturer that they're going to sign the deal. So all that information is been collected and can be potentially very valuable. So back to the exhibition business, the key information that we capture as people go into each hall just by scanning the badge is actually real time, right? As you scan, you capture the information, but historically that information is not being used. Well, it's been used, but it only used for reporting purpose, so they only aggregate up to tell you how many people have actually attended the event that day. But we see the value of delivering that information real time or near real time to our colleagues on the ground so they can plan, okay, that hall has lower than normal traffic. Maybe we can route somebody over there so it doesn't look too crowded and too busy there. Or that some halls and some customer who actually should visit a certain hall, but they didn't do so. Maybe we should set a SMS or email reminder that, okay, hey, come check it out. Maybe you missed it. This is meant for you. So I will show a quick demo of this. Of course, we don't have any live event happening right now, so this is really just an archive of that dashboard. But you will get the idea. This, we use the really good mapping capability of Tableau of putting a custom map on there and plotting information on that custom map. So in this particular event, it's a cosmetic and beauty shows in Hong Kong, which is one of the largest in Asia. And it had people coming from all the different segments of the business. And what we did here is we provide a search of the company, and as well as the search of a particular segment. So again, here you can look for a particular company, right? Maybe the cosmetic company, and you can then filter to only their participation. So let's say, select just this hair salon. And it will filter the participation and engagement of this particular company during the event. So that's one way of using that. Okay, so we see that, okay, it's visit level 4 of this, and then, hall 3G, and then the main hall in level 1. And we will see here, one means that there's one person that involved in this particular segment from this company. So I can, again, filter on this particular segment. So I'm interested in seeing people who are only looking for certain products or represent a certain business line, and how are they engaging in the event. So let's take away the company filter, so everybody and all sector. And filter them, right? So here, so for example, I only wanted to look at this particular segment, hair products, retail. So close to 2,000 people have attended the show. So this information we deliver real time. So as the event progresses, you will start seeing, this circles go darker, and that you have a distribution of traffic as well as a ability to segment. So this is our third use cases for the business. There's another one that I'm not going to show, but the basic idea is also we are looking at how are people moving from hall to hall. Are they moving the way we expect them to move? Are they coming at the hall from the right directions? So those are all very critical insights for operation on the ground. Now, I mentioned about challenges, and here I want to talk about, when things gets tough, what do you do? So typically we get a full spectrum of responses And on one side, you have people tell you, I don't have time for this, as I mentioned. And the other side, you have people who tell you, okay, just give me the full Excel sheets of all the data that I will handle my own selection. You don't have to give me this dashboard. And also in the middle, can I select in a different order? If you've been working with Tableau dashboard, you know that could be quite a challenge. And can I group my data on the fly, custom? Set operation may allow you to do that, but with server, you cannot change, define a set on the fly. So can I make an exclusion? So with filters, can I make an exclusion and an inclusion? Can I handle and or filter at the same time? I choose A and B or A and C. All of these are very challenging. And of course, the biggest challenge is actually a crisis that happened a year ago when I need to report to the CEO how this program is progressing. So I was in his office. So imagine I'm sitting at his back. He was looking at the screen. He was expecting to play with it. First time in production. And then my colleague who developed the dashboard that you saw, this dashboard you saw earlier, was sitting at the back. And we had just done some upgrade of the performance the night before. And it was really the first time that I would be seeing how it worked. But because I scheduled it, my CEO is a very busy man, I have to go with what it is that was available. So in the first page, it went all right. There was some delay. I will show you what the delay looks like. But that's not the worst part. So you see in desktop, as you select, it's very instantaneous, right? Responsive, immediate. Looking at same amount of data, really, there's 2 million records in here that's being selected. But here, see, this is server. And I was making a selection, and the spinner just go round and round and round, and 10, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and still not appearing. And when it's ready, you notice that? That was 3 seconds. No. Okay, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seconds before you actually see, a mark and prompt for you to select. That is terrible, but that's not the worst part. The worst part is, and then you go through, right, next and next and next and next, and you get to the page where we were selecting the responses. And at that one page, it loads half minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And my CEO will say, we are quite embarrassed, of course. The CEO turn around and look at me and start asking me questions. Say, yeah, it will be better performance. Yeah, we have all the data now. Yeah, all the business quite receptive to this. And then I was then, at the back of my mind was, and I peek over and look at the dashboard, and it's still running. And that conversation, back and forth, half an hour with the CEO. And then I turn back and look at the engineer of my team, and I think to myself, okay, my career is doomed. And so are you. And it was a terrible feeling. But we had the mercy of the CEO because he truly believed in it. And that's very, very important, the fact that you have executive sponsorship, that things will not always be perfect the first time. So then we go back to the drawing board, right, to identify what exactly happened, why it is so slow. Of course, we call Tableau support. Of course, we ask our IT, look at the hardware, look at the log, everything. But surprisingly, we don't get the answer, any official answer, from any other sources on this particular problem. But where we found the solution, not here. Or this is just showing you how long it is from the official log, 12 seconds to select the data. But what we found, the key reason was when on the same data set, I have someone else on my team who was developing something based on the same data set, based on the same type of visualization, but for a different purpose. the two guys are not really talking to each other. So they develop on their own. So they are both connecting the same database. They write their own custom query into the database. But this guy who is developing this dashboard for another purpose using the same data do all the work in SQL and connecting directly then to pull all the dimensions that he uses. But the original engineer for the dashboard was trying to have some of the handling of the dimensions and filters written in the custom SQL. If some of you are work with the connection as well, you notice that in custom SQL, when you put a where statement and you put some processing on that filter, what it does, it slows down tremendously the dashboard. So there it is. That is why it was slow. Then I bring the idea from the other guy and to this guy, and then we were able to make it much faster now. So you saw the original demo that I showed, and it was not that bad, right? A few seconds, and you get to the next page. So lesson learned, it's always a good idea to have more than one person working on similar things. Then if there's problem, issues come up, maybe there's another solution to the same problem. No challenges too small. There's two other key challenges that we face. First of all, a very familiar curse of dimensions, right? So you saw in the dashboard, at the back of it, there's 2 million or 3 million customer records, but it's along 20 plus dimensions. So you do the math, there's over 1 billion records extracted in Tableau, in memory to serve. And even though the Tableau engine is fast, but it's not as fast as we wanted it to be. So we had to resort to putting multiple data sources and then passing ID. So you select 10 customer ID passed to another data source, and the next page of the dashboard is actually running on another data source. And then there's 3 or 4 data sources that are put together on that dashboard. So that is our workaround to the solution. But I believe if we are able to connect directly maybe to a cloud database, a live connection, and maybe able to do it quicker, because at the moment, our solution just don't scale. Maybe if we double the size of data, it doesn't work. The second one, challenge, what I call the blind date, is we cannot really know and personally meet every user. We have 300 users across the region at the moment. And as I said in the beginning, right, they don't tell you the truth. Sometimes they don't tell you the truth. So you ask them, okay, how is the dashboard working for you? I saw you have 500,000 data. Is it slow? Is it okay? And they say, oh, yeah, no problem. And working fine. I've been using it a number of times. But then we look at the actual usage. He hasn't even logged on to the system, right? So with Tableau, initially we don't really know what data there is in the database and what is the who actually export the data and how many data they exported. So we had to build some embedded function to track the usage. So my recommendation to get started with Tableau in a self-service environment is to start talking and begin doing it. And I usually follow this practice of 4 stages. First of all, you discuss the pain point. Find one pain point and discuss with the business. And then meet the CEO to get executive sponsorship. Train the team, and then run your prototypes. I would say the critical part is really to get executive sponsorship here. And as well, if you are building dashboard, you need to train your team and get them on the right track. Not quite yet on that. But what I wanted to kind of leave you with on this section is to ask you to think of one reason for everyone in your company to adopt a self-service platform using Tableau. And the reason, my reason and your reason can be different. But at least find one reason that they will want to use the system. and to use Tableau to do their job. So much like Excel, right? It's an indispensable tool. Why? Because it serves many different purposes. You can use it to do research. You can just document your data. You can do many other things with Excel. But with Tableau, I believe the same approach applies. You need to make that tool flexible enough that it delivers useful value for end users, and it doesn't have to be the same value for everyone. So back to my initial topic, why we cannot do business without Tableau. This is the solutions. Find that one reason. When everyone have that one reason to use Tableau, then the tool become indispensable in the company. And the tool become a force that you bring people together to deliver the mission of bringing the data closer to your people. So with that, I will open the floor, but I'm not going to do the typical Q&A. What I'm going to do is, you guys may be sitting too far from each other, but why don't you maybe sit closer together? Because what I wanted to do is I want you to talk to someone nearby about your takeaway of the session, or just in general about self-service BI. So what you do is find someone nearby, introduce yourself, and then talk about self-service BI. How about that? Yeah. Testing. Sorry, guys. I know you're having a very good conversation, but just a quick thing. Please take the session survey to give some feedback to me and also to the organizer, Tableau. So please do. And you can continue the conversation, but I just want to say thank you for coming. And I hope it's helpful. And if you have any question or anything that we can share with each other, feel free to reach out. Thank you very much.